I do not have to explain to you anymore how data is really driving our digital economy, how data is more or less the heart of modern innovation using data insights. What I do want to talk to you about is how the latest analytics software really starts using data insights to come with better decision taking. And a nice example is the London Research Centre that uses heart scans and blood samples of their patients to predict a heart failure, meaning that if you as a patient come into the center, that you can have a very highly accuracy on a prediction whether you get a heart failure, yes or not. And that technique uses predictive algorithms and machine learning techniques that you see reflected in the breakout game very nicely. We gave this game to our machine learning services, and basically when it starts, it doesn't understand anything. It doesn't understand the frame, it doesn't understand time, it doesn't understand the objective, and it does a very lousy job in the beginning. But machine learning is self-learning, and while trying and playing, the game gets better, and after 2 hours it even starts understanding the trick of bringing the ball to the corner and make it hit the wall from behind. And after 2 hours it really plays the perfect game. This is what machine learning can do, and the reason for bringing this sample up is that machine learning and predictive algorithms are really becoming a major part in the latest analytics software that SAP uses. And the reason we use those techniques is really with a bigger aim. It is the aim of how you can really win your end users for your insights, how you can really get your end users using your system to do innovative things and take the right business decisions. An important element over there is that we make sure that a self-service product has a few core elements embedded in it. It should be scalable all the way. There should be embedded complete governance and trust. It should allow for collaboration at any point, any moment in the software. It should be timely, meaning live access to the majority of sources, and it should apply to all the latest trends, to give IBCS as an example. It also means that we need to be completely heterogeneous when it comes to accessing data. Very important over here is that we of course provide seamless access to all the core SAP applications like Fieldglass, like SuccessFactors, Ariba, but also to everything that is non-SAP. Data access is a key element in modern analytics strategy and to win your end users. And to give you an idea on how serious we are with Analytics Cloud, then I can tell you that within the next few months, SAP Analytics Cloud will become the de facto standard for every embedded analytics in a SAP core application. Whether it is SuccessFactors, whether it is Concur, whether it is the embedded analytics of S/4HANA, to name a few, every embedded analytics element in those applications will be driven by SAP Analytics Cloud. And I think that proves a lot on how serious we are on making this product a success. To guarantee that success, we came up with this logical overview of the setup of Analytics Cloud, which is as the word says, cloud-driven platform that has not only monitoring, meaning traditional business intelligence embedded, but it also has projection and simulation. Projection being business planning, simulation pointing to predictive analytics and machine learning technologies. These are woven together, and the nice thing is that you can step into that cycle, that closed loop of BI planning and predictive any moment, any time. Of course, there was seamless integration with modern data warehousing, data harmonization like BW for HANA, or with your core applications running on SAP S/4HANA. It also covers two big plays, I would say, that we use to approach the market. One is really driving excellence with running the business, making sure that there was end-to-end analytics, planning, predictive, and business intelligence woven into the product, but it also has a play of growing the business using machine learning and predictive technologies to better your innovations, to find out new business modeling, to make more out of your insights and make them actionable. On top of the Analytics Cloud platform, there's of course the digital boardroom for you to use if you're interested in it, and the very interesting SAP Analytics Hub, which is a catalog that provides insights to users anywhere, any place, whatever that insight might be. We will have a look at it later on in this session. Very important for you is to have a look at sapanalytics.cloud. You find the link on the top of the screen where you can even try the product if you want to. Now let's come to the core of this session, really how to win your end users from the perspective of SAP Analytics Cloud. And we came up with the rule of 7, a rule of 7 key assets that make you win your end users. And let's be honest towards each other. Your analytics offering, your analytics platform is only as strong as the number of recurring end users. If nobody is using your analytics platform, whatever it is made of, it will be a failure by definition. So winning your end users is in your personal benefit. And that rule of 7 is reflected over here. And we will go in this seminar through each one of them, showing how these various elements are reflected in SAP Analytics Cloud. And the rule of 7 came from the idea of more and better involved users will automatically lead to better insights. Better insights lead to better business performance and in the end to the innovation we are all looking for. So what is this rule of 7? End users having easy access to any insights is key to win them for your analytics platform. If they need to search, if they can't find the platform, if they need to log into multiple portals, you will lose your end users. Identity, uniformity, an easy way of setting up branded dashboards is a necessity to win your end users. Third, instant access to data. Data cannot be of yesterday anymore. People want to have access to data now and ideally in a live mode. Fourth, the ability to combine monitoring with budgets and even predictions and simulations, meaning the need for a closed loop in your insights, performance management. When end users want to analyze data, they want to immediately compare this to their budgets. They want to run simulations, they want to run what-if scenarios. More and more end users want to be helped by the software itself, meaning that modern analytics need to have the ability to start analyzing for you. Imagine that you as an end user access a new big data platform. You really don't have the time to study and to investigate every single element of the data. Software really needs to start helping you and doing a number of key performance indicators for you to look for influences on certain attributes and dimensions for you. 6, an element in modern end user analytics is that instead of you chasing the insights, we really move into an era where the analytics are chasing you. You want to be warned about certain things happening in the data that require your attention. You want to be thrown into an important element of the data that you probably haven't seen yourself. The data needs to start doing that for you, really chasing the end user. And 7th and last out of the rule of 7 is that modern analytics software really needs to bring you some of the industry-specific content that apply to you. People really start using the software when they are helped with a number of samples. that are not just samples, but really are live cases for the specific industry that they are in. That is what we call with leverage line of business content that should be embedded in modern analytics software. And with SAP Analytics, we have that. So the next of this session, I will go through each of these 7 points and show with concrete examples to you how the rule of 7 is applied in SAP Analytics Cloud. Let's have a look at rule number 1. Access to any insights, anywhere, any place, anytime. And I've said a lot with this sentence. Anywhere, wherever I am, I want to have access, whatever device I use, I want to go to the insights that are important for me, whether it's a mobile device or not. With latest software, I can also seamlessly interact in a very intuitive way. See my insights immediately on my mobile device or on my laptop, what have you. I also want to access any insight. So not only the SAP Analytics Cloud insights, but I also might want to have access to my web intelligence, analysis for Office, Lumira, or what have you. Even maybe third-party insights like Excel, PowerPoint, Tableau, Click, or Power BI. If you really want to win your end users, you need to have one consolidated catalog where people can access any insights they like to see. And that catalog can be Analytics Hub. It is really the single product in the market where you can run and bring together every insight needed for your end users. You will never lose them again because now they can finally find everything they need. It uses single sign-on to identify you, and depending on the user rights, you have access to the insight, yes or not. Very powerful of Analytics Hub that it has a very good filtering to easily allow end users to find the things they need. It also has fuzzy search text search capabilities for them to just type in a single word and it will immediately match with the metadata of the insight so that you can easily find what you need. It looks like this. This is SAP Analytics Cloud, and I refer to sapanalytics.cloud on the web if you want to study the product in more detail or find on YouTube the countless videos and demonstrations. So most of you probably already know about the massive and very strong interactivity in the product. It is multi-tabular and you can easily find your way through the various interfaces. The self-service and the access to insights, that aspect is also very nicely highlighted by the what-if scenarios, like these sliders that you see over here, or the interactivity that you have with every graph driving other graphs, cross-chart reporting. One of the things I wanted to highlight today is that we just spoke about access to the insights on any device. These are the responsive pages, and one of the things I really like is that you, while designing, can easily see how your result is going to look on any device. So this is what it would look like on a web page, or if you say, no, I want to see what it does on my mobile phone, it shows you like it looks in that one, or another phone, a large one, or even a tablet. So very strong capabilities over there. The self-service and easy way of working is also massively reflected with, for example, geospatial chart. If you look at this one that is now loading, imagine that I have a file with point of interest that I want to plot on the chart. Well, this is what you do as an end user. You just drag and drop it. And it automatically populates the chart for me. Now all my point of interests are being reflected on the chart just by dragging and dropping. And this is what modern analytics does for end users. This is how you win them for your platform. Let's have a look at that Analytics Hub I spoke about, having people access to any insights anywhere. The Analytics Hub has a very intuitive user interface for your end users. They can easily refine their search using one of the refinement filters that the administrator can set up to your needs. There's also fuzzy search. So if I search for something like profitability, I can start typing and the text search help me finding the correct word and open, for example, this on-premise analysis in Web Intelligence for me to use. I click it, it gives me the metadata of this one. I can click the link. And based on the single sign-on, I get access or not, and I can interact with my Web Intelligence report and do my analysis. I can also easily go back and search for another analysis and untick the search button and, for example, go to the dashboard that we just reviewed with an Analytics Cloud storyboard that I can click, and again, it works in the same way. For the administrators of Analytics Hub, there is the embedded cockpit, which gives you full management regarding the content. So if you want to add new content, you have this workflow where you can bring in all your metadata, the language, the source systems, who created it, where the data is coming from, what have you. You see this all indicated over here, and via a workflow process that is embedded over here, you can manage the life cycle of your insights and get them published or not. Analytics Hubs gives you access, like you see here, not only to SAP insights, but also to third-party insights. The second rule to win your end users is really be clear on identity and uniformity in your insights and dashboards. People only adopt and trust insights when they are set up to a certain uniformity or brand within your organization. That not only applies to the layout, but that also applies to the consistency of using formulas, KPI definitions, and what have you. In Analytics Cloud, this is applied as follows. SAP Analytics Cloud is one of the very few products that is certified to IBCS. These are the international standards of applying and setting up visualizations, and famous regarding their variance reports, for example. It looks like follows. If I create a new story, create a canvas page, add a chart, we select a model, so creating a chart following the rules of IBCS is done as follows. So let's take a metric, for example, total cost, and I'd like to see that by brand. Then you see that I have this simple chart coming to me. What I can do is use my version, for example, to apply the planning and the budget or forecast variances in the same chart. You will see that I already have another color coding. So if I now bring in my budget and, for example, my forecast, you will see that the patterns and the color codings are automatically applying to IBCS standards. And I now can set up my variances by just clicking the chart, saying I want to add a variance, and I can create these variances based on, let's choose the metric that applies over here. I can either say I want to compare different versions of the data over the version itself or over time. If I choose version, for example, the actual, and I say, please compare that to me versus the budget, you see the variance reports coming in. And of course, I can also bring in the percentages, for example. So this is how you set up these reports, these IBCS reports. Of course, the drill down that I had applied in this report is still respected. So if I go in cabling, this is about some retail products, and I say, well, I want to see the different types of cables. Let me drill in. Yeah, you see the variance reports coming in over here. I have various options for the structure and the display that I can set up. But this is how quickly you do that. This is how end users very quickly can make these variance reports. Another big thing in identity and uniformity is, of course, the use of templates, a way to really guide your end users to design and create insights in a conform and uniformed way. And Analytics Cloud is a product that goes very, very far using templates. If you just create a new story, then you already see the templates coming up. There are a number of those templates pre-formatted for the end user, but the very nice thing is that every story you build can be saved as a template. So you as an enterprise can really start branding and designing towards your personal brand, towards the way you want your insights to look. And let's be honest, people just adopt and trust insights more when they are branded in a uniform way. This is one of the templates that comes with Analytics Cloud, but nothing prevents you from creating your own. The third aspect of winning your end users is really about instant access to any data. And having said that, then access to data that is recently old is in most cases not good enough anymore. People, where possible, require access to data in a live mode. SAP Analytics foresees in live connectivity for a number of applications. Today you can live connect to BW of any setup, BW for HANA, of course our HANA data sources, S4HANA, but there's also live connectivity foreseen for universes. With live connectivity, it means that no data is leaving your source system or leaving your network to SAP Analytics Cloud. The only thing that comes to Analytics Cloud is the metadata of the insight itself. So live connections are very trustworthy because all the data stays within the firewall of your enterprise. SAP is massively investing in getting more live connections, and soon you will see that we come up with live connections to, for example, source systems like SuccessFactors. Next to the live connections that you see on the top right hand corner of the screen, we also can access any data type in acquired mode, meaning that the data is uploaded into SAP Analytics Cloud, which runs on the HANA platform itself. Data that is acquired can be blended and linked to each other in any possible way using linked data model. One can link as many data sources as possible. What is very innovative is that we now also start having blending, linking of live connections. Today, it is perfectly possible to link and blend connections, live connections between HANA live sources. Soon you can expect that we will also have a blending possibility for HANA Live versus, for example, a local CSV or Excel file. Other blending for live connectivities will follow soon, and I encourage you to stay tuned on sapanalytics.cloud to get all the information you need. An absolute crucial element in winning your end users is providing them the ability for full performance management into their analytics software. The ability to not only monitor traditional BI insights, but also to project using business planning and to simulate. SAP Analytics Cloud is the only software in the market at this moment that brings that closed loop together in one product. A product that can help you investigating the performance of certain processes and KPIs using business intelligence techniques, that in the same time allows you to project to the future and to see the performance against the things you planned, your budgets. And third, use simulation techniques with predictive algorithms and machine learning to see what could happen if you change certain metrics or drivers of your insights. The power of that closed loop of BI, planning and predictive is that you as a user really have the freedom to step into that process where and when you want. You can start with traditional business intelligence, use that information to create your business planning, for example. By the way, there was native bidirectional integration with BPC. And later on, use a predictive model if you consider to unleash new markets and see what your budgets and your insights can bring. You can also start in a situation where you consider to replace one of your suppliers by creating a predictive model, looking at what are the key influencers for the performance of a supplier to make the decision in the end to come up with a new supplier for your supply chain, and use in the end BI to review the outcome of your results. Meaning, again, stepping into that process when and whenever you want is, to my personal belief, one of the key elements of SAP Analytics Cloud. Furthermore, by all means, it always allows you to either access your cloud resources or your on-premise resources and use a hybrid model to even combine them, meaning that with SAP Analytics Cloud, we protect your current investments in, for example, SAP on-premise software, because we can leverage the things you already built with that software. Let's have a look at one of the very latest innovations when it comes to integration of predictive planning and BI in SAP Analytics Cloud. One of the things that I really like is that I can now use my version type in my modeling when I create a model based on various versions of data. As you can see over here, I have a set of data that not only has the actuals of a certain record, but also has its accompanying budget numbers. And what I now can do in the modeler is, if I, instead of typing this as a dimension, change that into a version, it allows me to upload the data and to master the data in the variance reports. The data, the model will automatically recognize actual and budget. I can even map the versions if I want to certain terminology, but it means that I can use these elements later on in comparing actuals and budgets towards each other. So this version type in the modeler, which is relatively new in Analytics Cloud, is a real game changer if you want to compare your actuals versus your budgets or forecast, or how many versions you have. There is no limitation on that. In this sample, I created a model for a set of data with actuals, budgets and forecast using the version type in my model, as you can see over here. And another thing that I wanted to point out over here to you is that it's very easy to create a hierarchy in metrics. Let me show you what I mean. Over here, I have my revenue, which is splitted out in direct revenue, indirect revenue, and supportive revenue. They all roll up using this hierarchy over here towards the total revenue number, total revenue indicated over here. The fact that revenue accompanies or adds to the revenue makes me choosing the account type as increase. Opposite to that, I also have total cost, and total cost is created out of labor costs and cost of goods. These are indicated as an expense, so have a negative effect on the total number, and roll up to the cost element that you can see over here. So I build in a hierarchy in my metrics towards revenue, total revenue, and total cost. Both, in their sense, roll up to my final number being the gross profit as indicated in this hierarchy. Let me show you how that looks when I create a report on top of it. When I create a graph based upon my model where I use the version type, so actuals, budgets and forecast, and where I created the hierarchy in the measures for revenue and cost, it looks like this. So I select the model that we just looked at in the previous exercise. I click it, and over here is an empty chart where I can build up my first analysis. As you can see in the measures, my gross profit, my end number, is now in a hierarchy and made up out of total revenue and total cost. You see the hierarchy in the various elements. So I can select direct revenue and supportive revenue and say, well, I also want to have labor cost, and let's have a look at that, for example, per country. This is how you easily create those reports and create the accompanying analysis in there using that version element. That version element is also over here. If I add in my filtering the version itself, it allows me to create a comparison overview between actuals and budgets, as you can see over here, or even adding the forecast. The reason that I can do this in this very easy IBCS supported way is because I used that version type in my model that I set up to connect to the data. The same setup in the model is also very beneficial if I want to create the value driver tree. The value driver tree is a massively usable way to see the build-up and influences of various metrics towards an end result. Let's create one together. Webinar, I call it webinar. I select the model that we just looked at over here, and I start creating the value driver tree. I select the grain, the time grain where I want my value driver tree to be calculated upon, and what I do, I start creating a new one and ask the system to help me creating them by auto-completing the value driver tree right now. The use of that setup of those hierarchies is now very, very beneficial. What I can do is select everything that is regarding gross profit, ask that to come to my value driver tree, and it's automatically populated. The only thing I need to do is select the highest level branch node and copy all my results to my consumption flow by clicking the copying branch number. If I now save the value driver tree, I can easily reuse it in a story of my use. Let's create a story together, add a canvas page, and insert the value driver tree we just created together. I look for webinar. Here it is. And this is how easy I create the value driver tree, where I can now very simply select and say and simulate, imagine I want to increase my supplier revenue with a certain number, let's say with 15%, and ask the software to recalculate the final effect of that number on my gross profit, which you see reflected over here. Very, very, very powerful technique to simulate, plan, and predict in one environment. Number 5 in our list of 7 to win your end users is that modern analytics really start helping analyzing for you. Bearing that big data is coming to you, that data is getting more complex every time. It is just impossible for an end user to study data in detail every time a new data source appears, and that is why software now starts helping you. And the software does that in a various types of way. The self-service techniques that we use in Analytics Cloud are really to help you, for example, in correlation algorithms that create smart groupings. If you have a scatter chart and you have a vast amount of records indicated for you, the smart grouping uses correlation algorithms to bring clusters of data together that are for you to be highlighted or to be studied upon. There are more smart features in the software, and one of them is Smart Discovery that is now really revamped and bettered in the latest wave of Analytics Cloud. I will show you in a second. There's also Smart Insights, where you now have the ability to search for insights and create insights in the way that you Google by just asking the software to come up with a certain analysis. Smart grouping we touched. Smart transformation is also part of the modeling feature where it does a number of transformations in a smart and automated way for you if you connect to data. Let's have a look at a few examples. The algorithms that I used for smart insights are now bettered and even further tuned and tweaked. There are correlation algorithms in there, but also decision tree and predictive forecast algorithms embedded. I can activate smart insights by clicking in this chart that is about contractors with budget on track, the little light bulb. As you can see, Smart Insights highlight, and when I click it, the algorithms start doing their thing and come up with a whole variety of specific correlations they find in the data. I can click them one by one and eventually bring them to my analysis if I need them. I am logged into SAP Analytics Cloud and I'm using a data set on sales information, having some customer meeting metrics, number of contacts, revenue and employees. And in terms of perspectives, I can look per product, country, customer, and some sectors. I also have various versions of the data. Let's start with Smart Insight. Smart Insights can be accessed by clicking the little search button over here that brings you to this dialog box. And what Smart Insights does is that it basically starts from the principles of Google, where you can just ask a question to the system that generates an appropriate answer with alternatives, with a best match and a second best match, the way that Google does that if you have normal questions. So what I could do, I could ask this data set, show revenue by customer, for example. And here you go, the system is automatically now generating the graph for me, which I can just with a click add to my story. This is based on NLP, natural language processing technology, which now gives me the top 10. So this is a very, very powerful way of accessing data and exploring your data using natural language processing techniques. Bearing that this data set has multiple versions, I could also ask it to compare the actuals with the forecast by extending my question and saying, give me the actuals versus the forecast. And you will see that it will automatically now generate a graph where it compares both and gives me the differences. I could take out the top 10 again, and this is a very nice way of searching your data. But this is not the only thing. As you see, I also have this little microphone over here, which even prevents me from typing. I could just say it to the system. So if I clear my search button, tick the microphone and ask for the top 10 customers in the system, let's do that. Show revenue by customers. Voila, you got it. Show top 10 customers. And here are the top 10 customers. Yeah, this is multi-language. So if I would speak German, it would translate German first in the first step to English and then run the algorithm. So it's all embedded machine learning technology. Number 6 in our list of winning your end users is really the big trend and change that we see as of this year, where instead of the end user chasing the analytics starts chasing you as an end user. And we see that applied in SAP Analytics Cloud in various ways. One of the things very important over here is automatic discovery of key influencers and certain trends in the data using the automated discovery smart features. I'd like to show you the latest version of that called Smart Discovery 2.0, which is very soon available in your SAP Analytics Cloud software. Imagine I am a data analyst and I am going to access a new type of data that I haven't studied before. So I want to create a new story and decide to directly access and explore the data by using a model that I created to access the new data. So I'll click that model and type the element where the data is at this moment, the same one as we reviewed with the search to insight. So I automatically are brought to the explore mode where I can set up a new smart data discovery. I can add all the dimensions that I want and start quickly analyzing. But there's also another way possible. If I toggle and I go to story, you will see that I have now run a smart discovery option over here. So if I tick that, Analytics Cloud is going to create a story based on an automated smart discovery for me. Have a look. I tick the button. What it's asked, it will ask me what is the metric that I want the application to focus on. So I just click one, total expected revenue. I have some advanced options. Say, well, I want to study the actual version or the date of the data or the forecasted one. Well, I can exclude and filter certain elements, but let's run this to give you an indication what is going to happen. So the algorithm starts running right now. And the various steps of the story build up. And in a matter of seconds, my full story is being created. Let's quickly have a look. It gives me an overview page with all the key metrics, a crystal clear distribution of my key element that I indicated. It gives me links to some additional analysis. It will recognize automatically whether there's geospatial data in there. If so, it will create geospatial graphs also, and I immediately get a number of analyses that allow me to filter or to even do a smart insight. I also get, given that it's a smart data discovery, a full report on the key influencers of the metric total expected revenue. Yeah, so customer segment is the key influencer. I get all the insights automatically next to me. I can even toggle between the various insights. So if I say, well, let's have a look at this one, give me those smart insights, or I want to focus on the third biggest one, number of customer meetings, the third correlated attribute towards total expected revenue. It gives me all the insights automatically on the right hand side with all the accompanying graphs. I can scroll down and the details are provided for me. A report of all the unexpected values is generated automatically. I can even edit the columns if I wish of all these sections. And the last area, very important, is a simulation automatically run for me. So what happened is that this whole story was created for me in, I didn't count, but I think it was 15 or 18 seconds with just 2 clicks. This is modern analytics. This is how we drive innovations with SAP. The last step of the rules of 7 to win your end users is really to leverage existing content and best practices in industries that applies to yours. And within SAP Analytics Cloud, we've applied that technique massively by bringing embedded in the product a whole bunch of content already used and available to you. That content applies and covers a certain number of industries. And over here you see the very latest added content for banking, insurance and real estate. What it makes it very strong is that it does not only cover some insights and dashboards that are used in similar situation as yours, but it also comes with all the models, with all the underlying system that effectively can reflect your source system. Meaning that if we have an example on banking, it does come with a model that directly connects to an S/4HANA system with banking information that could look immediately similar to your system. It would also mean that you can use those analytics and just re-link the model towards your own S/4HANA system, and immediately all the dashboards and reports will work for you. Currently, the overview that we have, and this is just a screenshot, is very, very, very extensive. It covers almost 18 industries, countless line of businesses. Everything comes with visualizations, storyboards, even digital boardrooms, but also the underlying models, also the connection setup, also the various formulas embedded, and everything you need for your insights. Lastly, that we recently announced is that the embedded content that comes with the product is now further enriched by content created by a number of our partners like Cognizant, like Abaco, for example, like Infosys and PwC. Thanks for your attention. Look forward to speak to you soon. Bye bye.